It's a long rabbit
Right.
trail.
Yeah. But that's another one. You address the money and who controls the money.
I mean, I tell
And,
people, you end the Federal Reserve tomorrow, and you end most of the crappy things that are going on in the
Absolutely.
world because they can't fund them. They just can't.
Absolutely, that's it.
Well,
That's-
it's a really interesting connection there, because if you aren't depending on the money, then you have to depend on relationships. You're depending on barter. You're depending on the actual market
Yeah.
of usable skills and items in your community, and that is a huge incentive for getting along with your neighbor and getting to know
Absolutely.
your neighbor. That you're right, we don't have anymore because
Yeah.
we just got these bills floating around.
You hit it on the head there, Lizzie. It's the incentives. It's the economics behind it, and that's exactly what it is. It's an incentive. When you de-incentivize certain things,
Well,
you won't have them.
But here's the thing: you're getting into what a lot of people would call, well, that's not economics. Economics is about money. Where that's not really what economics is. I think from the Austrian perspective, it's about incentives, and incentives are usually mostly not money. They're not monetary.
Yeah.
And you have to look at the actual incentives that people have to do things for any of it to make any sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I go into that more too. And this is good. And this is what economics is. We try to talk to our kids about economics. They're very young, but we try to instill this. It's also a lot about. And again, this is
Have you read Bob Murphy's book, the Three Little Lads and the Lizard King?
Yes, Murphy's great.
Because that's a good primer for a little kid.
Murphy's a hell of a karaoke singer too.
He was a fun interview too.
Oh, I'm sure he's hilarious. But going back to that, the choices we make in a world of scarcity, every choice you make, we tell our kids this, every choice you make, you're not choosing a million other things. So make that choice count.
But we live in post-scarcity, don't we?
Yeah, I knew you were going to come with that, right? But I'll counter that by saying we're human beings.
Oh, yeah.
We will never have enough of anything. The human appetite is insatiable. So there's always going to be more, more wants. There's everything. There will always be scarcity because human beings always want more and more things. But that's so important. Going back to that point about choices, and I think, and that says something about American culture we can touch on again too, is that you said something about the people fall into complacency. You think the government has your back and this and that, and the post-scarcity thing. I think Americans these days, and it's reaffirmed by government and schooling and society and everything, they think they can have everything all at once. We've lost any sense of the fundamental economics of day-to-day life, where we think I can choose A, B, C, D, I can go all the way down to Z, where that's not the case in reality. You choose A, that means you're not choosing B through Z.
Well, I mean, to get real specific on this, I got into an argument with a guy yesterday at work who was telling a girl at the office. She's like, she didn't want to pay $200 to have something fixed. And he's like, well, we'll just go to Pull Apart and grab the thing and bring some tools. And I'm like, Mark, please, everything you just said is wasting a lot of time that I do not feel like wasting. That $200 that I would spend to have somebody do it for me,
yes,
is way, way less expensive than the time I'm going to spend doing it.
Yes.
Like, just the economics of how my day functions.
Absolutely.
And people don't think about that. It's like, oh, well, it only cost me $50. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm sure I could have done something in the time it takes me to do that and made more than $50.
Yeah.
So,
hey, subjective value, I
guess his time isn't worth very much.
Yeah. So we all have different valuations. So yeah, so true.
Yeah.
So very true.
So
that's economics is the most, and the Fed. We touched on two of these things, and I know we're glossing over a lot, but economics, we need more economics. If they're going to force school on us, they got to put sound economics as part of the curriculum.
Well, the problem is they don't teach kids economics, and then when they do teach them, apparently you can become a communist.
Absolutely.
Given the economics, look at it.
Absolutely.
Apparently, Ocasio-Cortez has an economics degree, and I'm still scratching my head about how that's
that tells
possible.
You everything you know about modern economics instruction. Thomas DiLorenzo's great book, that socialism book, fantastic. Have you been through that?
I have not. I'm going to be honest. I am a terrible libertarian when it comes to reading.
Okay.
I've never.
Hey, we're busy. You're driving. You're listening. You're not reading.
Well, and the way that I describe it to people is when it stops making sense when somebody tells me something, then I'll start reading. I'm in a position where everything I've ever been told in libertarianism seems self-evident to me. Yeah. So when it stops being self-evident, I'll get deeper into it.
That's a very good position. Let me go back and say something that should be important to all of us too, and this touches on the Fed. I see a lot on the Facebook and on the social media, and since Ferguson burned up, you see a lot of these issues, and I think, and you guys know this too, this all goes back to the Fed, and we have to look at, instead of just accusing people of racism, and this is going back to the top of our conversation, you see so many people just shouting racism and this and that. The Colin Kaepernick thing, love him or hate him, I think he completely missed a golden opportunity because he can knee during the anthem. We get all that, that's fine. But he's missing a golden opportunity in the 2 years since he started kneeling. He is yet to articulate the exact policy mechanisms which are causing the oppression he's talking about. And they're all funded by the Fed, and we can go down the list. If we were really serious about this, and if he was serious, and all of us, we should all say this. It's the Fed that funds the war on drugs, which destroys those communities. It's the Fed. The Fed's debt, which causes municipalities to go in debt and do things like policing for profit and civil asset forfeiture. So we can go down. It's the minimum wage, which was conceived in racism, which the Democrats and Ocasio-Cortez is pushing now, literally conceived in racism to keep minority labor from competing with white labor. We can go down these. Which of course hurts the undereducated and the unskilled and young people the most. But we should be going down and talking about these actual policy mechanisms that can change, which are holding these poor and middle class communities down. You know, I wish that would be talked about more. Libertarians talk about it, but libertarians don't really have a voice. It's a binary.
In the broader culture, yeah.
Yeah, it's a binary culture. We have blue and red.
And what I was asking was, do you listen to Camille Foster at all?
No, I don't.
Camille Foster has him and Matt Welch and Brian Moynihan. I'm not a big fan of Moynihan. Welch, I like a little bit more. And Camille, I love. But
what's the name again? Let me write it down.
They have the Fifth Column podcast, and Camille Foster is basically he's a black guy that rejects race.
Okay.
I mean, he talks about it an awful lot for
a guy who rejects it.
But the thing is that he's talking of it from a perspective that, I mean, everybody else wants to talk about it with him because he does have interesting ideas on it. Yes. But one thing he's always said about, like, say, the Black Lives Matter movement in particular is that he's like, I'm not sure to what degree we can ever prove that somebody's racist. You can't see inside their heart, so you don't know.
Amen.
However, I can prove that the training that police go through and that the way that we fight the war on drugs is provably hurting people. We can affect that. We can do things about that. We can prove that. And yes, and the Black Lives Matter position is that it has to be a race issue.
Yes.
Whereas I think it is a police brutality issue. We have to stop cops from thinking they have a legit right to kill people. They don't.
Yes. Yeah, and give them less laws to enforce.
But it's very interesting listening to a black man talk about it.
Yeah, well, everything you said, he said, I agree with. That's great. His voice, he needs a megaphone.
He gets on Fox News occasionally, but
he does. Okay.
I mean, honestly, Camille, he's also been on I think the Breakfast Club, which is a big hip hop channel. So he kind of gets out there, but I think it's usually kind of as like a sideshow that people have him on.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the music side of things, what's the best concert you've ever seen? We'll say the best performance. It doesn't necessarily have to be a concert per se.
Best performance, and this is not necessarily. I don't listen to him more than anybody else, but I have to say Prince. in around 2011 at the Forum in Los Angeles.
I already know that was a good show.
24-day stand before he was going to go off to Vegas to do his Vegas act, and it was the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen. And it was far from perfect, but it was just brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen a performer.
The best lesson about performing I got from Prince.
Yeah. What was it? What was the lesson?
Anytime you screw up, do it twice.
Good man.
Because if you do it twice, it sounds like it was on purpose.
It's intentional. Yes, I love it. Brilliant. It doesn't get any better. Yeah, that's awesome.
That would be an awesome show. I mean, I've watched enough video of him that he's just a consummate performer. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He's so good at it.
It's so tuned in. I think that's it. So tuned in and so in touch with every band member on stage and with his own instrument, just very, very tuned in. And I'll have to say, his Super Bowl performance is probably the best arguably the best Super Bowl performance we've seen.
Oh, without question. Yeah. Oh, and it's like there's the talk about it because it was pouring rain the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's standing up there in 8-inch heels in the pouring rain, just awesome, tearing it up.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're watching the entire stage collapse around him, and he's just killing it.
He just does what he
does. Everybody knew a phallic symbol was coming, and of course he delivered to the biggest audience. Very awesome. Great
but
show.
I mean, as a performer, have you ever seen that old video? Or I think James Brown had him and Michael Jackson come up on stage. And Prince refused to let Michael Jackson upstage him.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's only Prince.
Unbelievable. What was the other one? I'm sure you know this. I think it's been making the rounds on there lately, where he's jamming with Tom Petty and George Harrison's son. And I think it's Guitar Gently Weeps.
I think I have seen that one.
And fantastic.
I like Harrison,
there.
So.
Yes, it's great. All of them.
He's not Jeff Lynne, but nobody knows who Jeff Lynne is other than me.
Good point. Jeff Lynne is fantastic, too. Great.
All right. Well, the big question that I like to ask, because it's self-serving to me, if you had 5 records to tell everyone to go out and listen to right now, what would they be and why?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they don't have to be like your favorite albums of all time. Just 5 that you think people should know and listen to.
5
my top 5 changes every 20 minutes.
Well, tell me yours. You go first. I want to know.
Oh, I wouldn't even begin to know where to tell you right now.
You know what? Off the top of my head right now, I guess given the day and the times and the news and the whole thing, I've got this. There's a box set called Goodbye Babylon. And it's old.
Just guessing it's old reggae.
Yeah, close. Good stuff. It's a just old sacred gospel.
Oh, cool.
And, Americana from the last 120 years. Good stuff.
Interesting.
Anyway, good for the soul.
Very cool.
Good for the soul. Yeah. Anyway. I can't add to both your lists though. You're too. I don't know. I'm still chewing on that.
That's okay. That's all right.
All right. So we're kind of getting towards the end of things. So if you had a, I got my noise coming in here. I thought I muted it already. If you had a place to send everybody and say, take an action, do this thing, where should we be sending people? What are the links and so forth?
For what in particular?
Anything you want people to go and do. I assume you want people to buy the record, but
oh, that too. Yes. Oh, yes. The plug time. Come to my site. It's I am Zama Rripa. IAMZAMARRIPA. And I want to develop the site more. Again, I'm still looking at yours right here. It's a good site. I want to develop a bit more and put more. If you're interested in music, of course, come there. But I want to do more with the site and do more libertarian themed things and commentary on things going on in the day. But yeah, please come visit that. Friend me on Facebook, Zama Rripa, on social media as well. Instagram, Zama.Rripa7. Anything else? Or call Nick and ask Nick how to find me.
He's a very active in the Sounds Like Liberty discussion board, so
yes,
it's an easy way to find him if you don't want to go through it. I recommend going and getting the record though. So,
perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, it's available at all digital stores today.
I was going to ask, is it up on Spotify?
It is. It should be up on Spotify. I'm checking that now, but it is of course, it's on Amazon and iTunes.
Then the next question is, do you want to be added to the Sounds Like Liberty master list, and I'll just put your songs in the soundtrack that plays behind the episode every week?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Good. I'm always looking for new music to put in there. So
anything and everything.
More variety and
yeah, anything and everything.
Out of curiosity, how many records do you have, or is this the first one you've put out? I assume I feel like you've been doing this forever. So
I have been doing it for a long time, and I played with various bands over the years in Florida and Los Angeles, and toured everywhere with different things. Some this is my first on my own. This is my first record on my own. But I played guitar for bands, rhythm guitar, done all kinds of different things. And
anybody important?
The last band that I was in Los Angeles was Martyrs and Poets, and good little band. Guys from Colorado.
That name's very familiar to me.
Nathan Picard is still doing it. He was the singer for that band. He's in Nashville. He just released a record a couple months ago, which is fantastic.
Nice.
But this is the first record that I've done by myself. All right,
so this is the most important of the records.
Yes, of course. At least for now, until the next one.
All right. Well, we'll make sure to have you on again when that one comes out too.
Hey, thank you. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. I have to say I'm very nervous.
Oh no, you're fine.
I don't like talking about myself, but rather.
Well, we did. We talked about music and politics.
That's right. I'd rather talk through different characters.
There you go.
Through the characters in the song. But you guys are awesome, and I follow you and Nick. Your stuff on social media is hilarious. You're very talented.
Well, that's
clearly
whatever.
You have a very strong, good, patient woman behind you.
Absolutely. Good Lord, do I. I do not take that part for granted.
It's a good ride. We've been enjoying it.
It is a specific type of person that allows me to be the person I am. Let's just say that.
Yes. Hey, I have one of those too.
So,
right on.
All right.
Anyway,
well, it's been an awesome conversation, boss. You have yourself a good day.
Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Nikki P. I'll be following you. I'll be harassing you.
Nice. I like being harassed.
For a long time.
Gives my life meaning.
Yes. Gotta have meaning. Hey. Thank you, guys.
All right. You have a good day, boss.
Shelter. No, they can't save you from the night impending. Torches are red, just watch the flames go out. Feel the heat of his breath before you say his mouth. Your blood boils, retreat. Cling to your role and work till you're